A lot of people got sick or COVID, things like that in Paris. So anyway, thank you, John. Thank you all. And really appreciate your time, and turn it over to John. Thank you, sir.
I should be mic'd, so it should be good.
You should be good.
Just quick mic check. Everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Excellent. Rashesh wants me to offer his apologies for not being here. He was just doing some international travel and came down with a bug and thought you did not want it. And I think you might appreciate that. So he'd asked me to go ahead and first of all welcome you to our campus here. We adore the opportunity to host our guests, our customers, our system integrators, technology partners, OEMs, and of course AVEVA Select California, who is our host for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We hope that you find this to be a very interesting and fulfilling day. And feel free to give us feedback along the way and anything we can do to help and improve your experience. So my name is John Krajewski. I am based here in this office. I have been with this company now going on, I guess April will be my 25th anniversary. When I first started here, our offices were in Irvine, and we moved to this campus in 2002, I think we moved to this campus. So we've been here a while. Sometimes it's odd because it still feels like the new building to me, but we've been here for over 20 years at this point. And we've gone under a lot of change in that time, right? And when I first started, the letterhead that I got my offer letter on was Wonderware, which became Invensys, which became Schneider, which became AVEVA. And there's a lot of things that have changed. And one of the things that we're hoping to do in the next 20 minutes of time that I'm going to share with you is to give you a little bit of insight of what AVEVA might mean for you. I imagine for many of you, much like myself, you may have begun with Wonderware. You know, and AVEVA Select California kind of began as Wonderware NorCal and became Wonderware California. And so many of you may have begun your journey and your experience with AVEVA as Wonderware customers. There's sometimes I suspect that many of you probably look at it going sideways of, what are they doing over there? Does this affect me? Is this valuable to me, or is this just a distraction? Hopefully you'll take some things away from what I'm going to present to you here and help to apply that to some of the other presentations to kind of make sense of it all, hopefully. And at least that's the intention, and hopefully I don't mess that up as I'm delivering Rashesh's presentation. But I think I understand the gist of it well enough, because my job here is I run product strategy for what is formerly known as the Wonderware business, right, often. So, and I'll talk to you about where we fit into the bigger things, if you will. Now this particular slide here just kind of sets the backdrop of kind of evolution. I think many of us have lived this and maybe are still continuing to live this in many forms. You'll often hear this described in different manners. You're seeing here where they talk about the evolution of the industrial value chain. For some of you, you might look at the words industrial value chain. What is that? I know that's a term that we use here at AVEVA, and I'll try to help explain that to you along the way. Sometimes you'll hear this referred to as industrial revolutions. Right? The first industrial revolution being the steam engine, the second being kind of the production line, the third being where we kind of enter over here, where the PLCs and introduction of automation kind of do that. The Internet of Things kind of ushered in what we're calling the fourth industrial revolution. And some people are even saying that we're undergoing what's called the fifth industrial revolution, or Industry 5.0, with the advent of artificial intelligence. Some of you may sit there, well, I'm still in the third. Could you slow down a little bit? Can you maybe back up? And we understand that each and every business kind of takes these things on at their own pace. But we also recognize that as we start to take on new technologies and adopt new technologies, we're doing them hopefully as an intention to help you address challenges. There are some up here on the screen, and I'll note them, but these are not all of them, right? I know that every individual organization has unique challenges, but some of these we have found tend to be pervasive, like siloed data, inconsistent data, the need to be able to better predict outcomes, to move from reactive operations to proactive operations, being able to deal with the difficulty of multi-site operations, dealing with virtual and team collaboration. That is certainly one of the things that I must admit brought a smile to my face this morning as I pulled into the parking lot at 7:15 and I saw a bunch of cars, because I come here every day, and very often when I arrive around 7 o'clock, I'm the only car. So I was so happy to see some people around the campus there. So this remote collaboration has become a part of our world every day, and what we're doing. And being able to provide demonstrable and quantifiable results to your businesses based upon the things that you're doing. And when we look at how we're going to apply many of these technologies and these trends to address some of these challenges, and we've kind of created kind of a very simple statement, if you will, here for ourselves here at AVEVA, that the technology trends and the market dynamics are driving a transformation. That transformation demands an industrial value chain that's digital, interoperable, and resilient to prepare for the next generation workforce and the connected industrial economy. And so this, I'll be the first to admit that feels like a whole lot of marketing words and a jumble, and I won't shy away from that. But I will tell you that it's a very exciting outcome, and I'll show you some examples of what this might mean to you if you embrace it. And so when I look here and we talk about imagining the possible, imagining what's possible into our future and your future together, and when we look at that industrial value chain as we described it, it starts with designing applications and designing those industrial applications and solutions. So under design, we first envision a world where all elements of critical assets, plants, machines, and equipment are designed digital, whether that's a ship, a power plant, a water facility, a manufacturing plant. All elements of the design environment are defined in a digital format. Well, we refer to this often as 1D, 2D, and 3D, and I'll give you some examples along the way of what some of that might mean for you. But in either case, we see this as the birthplace of what we often refer to as the digital twin. Now, after design, we move on to build. When we move to the construction or the build phase, we add additional information around the materials, the machinery, the equipment, and the delivery. As they're delivered into the real world, they build onto that digital twin. They add onto that information stack. And here we extend the digital twin with more information around different types of installed equipment, machinery, or processes, all to better inform on the definition of the plant, the processes, or assets. The operate phase, and this is kind of our home base out of this organization, right? And so this is where we move into the operations, where we add additional information from all sorts of real-time processes, production systems, controllers like DCS, PLC, RTU, different equipment processes, and we begin to capture and collect lots of high-fidelity process and production information about those operations. This is the make side of manufacturing, where production occurs, on the operational side, if you prefer. I think this is where probably most of the people in this room live, right, is right in this particular aspect. Moving on, we reach optimize. And now with all of that in place, we have a framework and a platform for a comprehensive digital twin upon which we can begin to optimize all elements of that value chain. We look at this information in a number of different ways. We can experience this through different lenses or perspectives that allow us to address different users and use cases across the organization. This blend of what you can see us here refer to as design, build, operate, and optimize, that's that industrial value chain when you hear that term, right? When you hear us utilize that phrase. And so when we take that industrial value chain and we bring it all together, we call that connect, right? When you bring that together of a single platform to kind of be able to integrate that industrial value chain of design, build, operate, optimize, that is what we refer to as connect. And you'll be hearing a lot about connect, not only today, but into our future. It is the fabric that ties us all together. It is the fabric that ties us from an individual set of organizations into ultimately one AVEVA as we move forward. It's a very exciting time here where we're going to be delivering some really, really interesting experiences. Seamless experiences from individual assets or digital twins to a full digital enterprise. And we'll provide some of those things as innovative new solutions. So I'll share with you at least a couple of examples of ideas here. So if you look at the AVEVA organization, we come from really three pillar foundational businesses. The original AVEVA, which was based out of Cambridge and brings to us a lot of the design and build aspects of that value chain. Wonderware, which brings to us a significant aspect of the operate value chain. And OSI Soft, which brought to us the optimized portion of that value chain. Those have tended to exist individually in the marketplace and still often exist individually in the marketplace today. Our future and our vision is how do we demonstrate that value chain through visualization and other AI capabilities. And that's what I'll walk you through here as an example. So Connect, as I described it, is the fabric that ties us all together. You're able to log into Connect to access our marketplace where you can access applications. One of the applications that we deliver is one called visualization. When you access that visualization through Connect, you're able to reach into deep, rich applications, much like you've generally come to expect of our applications, but these are completely hosted, and they're not always in service of real-time operations. These can be in service of providing production data access to anybody within an organization. We can scale this up to thousands of users as opposed to where it tends to be on HMI and SCADA, where we're talking about tens of users, to be able to distribute this type of information and different types of information throughout this. So in this particular example, there's a lot of different systems, and we're going to take a closer look at the wind system in this example, where we're operating a number of turbines. You can utilize this system to get down and deep dive into all different levels of detail. So you're able to go down and look at individual turbines and inspect that turbine equipment. You can utilize information that is going to be pre-engineered in terms of things that you have built through your system integrators, as well as content that you can build on the fly. Ad hoc content that allows you to analyze that information and bring all that information together into a unified experience. Whether that information is around optimization type data, real-time utilization type data, or classic information that tends to be a bit more in the area of engineering type data. An example of engineering type data is here, the three-dimensional model. So as I'm operating this turbine, if I want to look at something to be able to do a further analysis of that element, I have right at my fingertips the access to all of the engineering information, the things from that build and construct portion of that value chain that I was describing earlier. I can perform that analysis, but I can also access other things like supporting documentation. So if there's manuals accessing that information, I'll be able to also access that through the same user experience that's also brought forward to me there. And as we move forward and look forward to kind of this, you've taken this and you can see at least here we have a single pane of glass experience which brings OSI data, it brings Wonderware data, and it brings AVEVA data into one common user experience. Now once we've brought all that information into a common platform, we can do different types of things. An example of some of the different types of things that we're able to achieve is to be able to utilize that data in different formats. And the format I'm going to show you here, you probably have seen as ChatGPT type thing. Well, we have our own ChatGPT type implementation. We refer to that as Industrial AI Assistant. An Industrial AI Assistant allows you to interact with your data, any part of that data, that industrial value chain that I was describing there. And so in this particular case, we're actually asking a question. It says, hey, looks like something happened in one of those turbines. Let me get some information on that. And it's going to respond of what it thinks is some of the causal information. We saw that this thing had a high temperature, and what were some of the reasons that are coming from that. You can then follow up in that conversation and ask more questions here. Do you have a utilization dashboard for this? And so it can provide you as a generative AI with content. It can provide you access to content and build that content out for you and facilitate your time to value and being able to navigate through that information. It says here, it looks like there was a high temperature event for GE07, which is one of the turbines. Can you find me all the bearing and narsile temperature? Obviously, I don't know what that is, but it's now going to go and be able to interrogate that instruction manual, right? So it's going to be able to find that information and find out the information around what, where those things are supposed to be, and also interrogate the real-time data to understand where things happened and where things, what actually happened in this example. Here it's actually showing you all the associated data from that particular event, and you can use it to analyze this in real time, and as well as you continue to interrogate other aspects of this. So for here it's going to say, says, something caused all those bearing temperatures to go high at the same time. Can you find me the maintenance manual for this turbine? And so in this particular case, it'll give you a link to that, and then it'll bring up that manual directly in that same single pane of glass experience. No having to go chase it down, looking through 3-ring binders, hoping to find one that's up to date. And so now that you have this information, if you want to ask it more details around what's in this document, as opposed to you having to read maybe a 400-page document, you can ask it for more details. Does the maintenance manual have any information on causes of high bearing temperature? And then it actually summarizes and says, yes, the maintenance manual does give you some indicators of information of some things that would cause a high bearing temperature in this example. Now, once you've got all this information brought together in one area, I'm going to let this thing get caught up with me. So the next thing here is, do you have a 3D model of the turbine showing the lubricating oil system? Because that's what the documentation was suggesting, that you need to look into the lubricating system. And so now they can actually directly from this interaction facilitate access directly with that information. And so it will bring up the 3-dimensional model, and you can interact with it directly from this interface. Not only can you interact with three-dimensional model here, as well as the other information that I've already demonstrated to you, but next we're going to ask it a question that says, can you write a summary of our conversation for a maintenance work order so I can utilize this? And so it's going to take the results of everything that we've just been talking about and summarize them so you can bring that all together and drive action within your organization. This is just but one example of the type of an experience that we believe that unifying that value chain can bring together a new experience that we're referring to as Connect. So we're hoping that as you come here today, I know that there's going to be a lot of conversations around the traditional things that you utilize in our portfolio, but I ask you to kind of open our minds around the possibility of what might be options for you in the future as we start to embrace something new here. We hope you will as well.